Welcome everyone to another Chat with Charnie. Today, I am so excited for today's guest because we're going to be speaking about a country that I am dying to go visit because my boyfriend is from there. That's right, today we'll be speaking about Vietnam. So my guest today is Jani Pretorius. I am super amped to have her here. We met a few years ago while I was auditing in South Africa, and she's been in Vietnam for I think about a year, but I'm not going to say anything further. Jani, welcome to Chats with Charnie. Thank you so much for being here. Please tell the viewers more about yourself. Tell us what you're passionate about, and just tell us more about you.
Xin chào. Hi everyone. So I'm Jani. I'm from Wellington in South Africa. I've been in Vietnam, like Charnie said, for a year now. I'm very passionate about traveling. I love visiting new countries, seeing how different parts of the world live, how their cultures are. So yeah, hi.
I'm so excited. So Jani, first things first. How did the opportunity in Vietnam arise, and why Vietnam of all places? Because people usually go to China, they go to Thailand. How did Vietnam pop up?
Okay, so this is an interesting story. I love the car show Top Gear. And around 2009, 2010, I saw this Top Gear Vietnam special, and it was just amazing. They started in the most south point of Vietnam, and they traveled up all the way to the north, and I just fell in love with it. So by that time, I was maybe grade 11 or matric, and I said, one day, I'm going to go to Vietnam and I'm going to do that exact thing. Like, I'm going to travel the whole of the country. So basically, I finished school and I was like, well, I can't take a gap year now. I need to get, studying and everything. Then I got a bursary with my audit firm. So then I couldn't go after I finished my studies. And then once I finished my articles, I was like, well, there's never going to be this opportunity again. So let's take the gap and let's go to Vietnam. So initially, I was like, maybe I should go into auditing, to Southeast Asia. But then obviously with the whole language difference, I couldn't really go there because especially in Vietnam, they don't speak a lot of English. So then my next point was like, well, what can I do that I can travel, but also earn while I'm traveling? And then one of my friends were like, well, why don't you go teach English? And I was just like, what? English is my second language. I had English first additional language in school. And then I just did this TEFL course. I think it was like 160 hours or something. You get your qualification and then you're qualified to teach English in Vietnam. So we basically went through all the channels, did that. And then it was a whole discussion about where in Vietnam I actually wanted to live. We decided on Hanoi. And then right as I finished my articles in December, like the 9th of January, we flew to Vietnam.
Oh, that is so awesome. I'm sure that like when you got there, it was so rich in culture and just like the people were so authentic, I'm assuming. Was it like that?
The opposite. So I haven't really shared this with anyone. No one except my boyfriend knows this. My first night, I cried. I was so upset. So we flew, it was a very long flight, obviously. We got to the airport, everything was fine. But I remember walking out of the airport and that heat wave just hit me. And it was so humid. And the company arranged this fancy car, they were standing there with my name on the board and everything. And then we get to the hotel and we have to cross the road with all of our luggage. And in Vietnam, they don't really follow rules. So they drive on either side of the road, cars, motorbikes, bicycles, everything. And it's like these huge bags. Nobody's helping us. I'm like scared for my life just crossing the road. And we get to the hotel. And I mean, my bag's almost bigger than this poor Vietnamese guy that's trying to carry it up the stairs. And we're like on the 5th floor. So we're climbing all these stairs. And we get to the room. And it's just not what I'm used to. And now I sound a bit like a snob now, but it's like they have, they call it a wet room. So they don't have like I'm used to showers that are closed and you have the toilet and the basin and whatever.
Yes.
There, everything just gets wet. So the shower is in the corner, but there's nothing covering it. So the water gets everywhere. First time I'm using the shower, my toilet paper is drenched. Everything is wet. And then it basically, when you wake up, everything is dry again. I think it's maybe because of the humidity or something.
It must be.
But I mean, it was just not what I was expecting. You know, I was expecting this Top Gear episode happening here in front of me.
Oh.
But as I got to like travel and just walk around in the city itself, I started to love it. It was just that first couple of days. I think it was the jet lag and also just getting used to how it works there.
Speaking about jet lag, how long did it take you to travel from Cape Town through to Vietnam?
So we flew with Cathay Pacific. So then you fly from Cape Town to Hong Kong.
Yeah, to Charnie, Hong Kong.
So we flew, I can't really remember, but it was 9 or 10 hours. And then we had a 6-hour layover in Hong Kong. So we actually went to the Big Buddha in Hong Kong, almost missed our flight. And then the flight from Hong Kong to Vietnam is maybe 2 or 3 hours. So it's not that bad.
Oh, so it's not that bad at all. Now, Jani, you actually have a very interesting story because you were in Vietnam for a year, but now you're no longer in Vietnam. Tell us where you are currently.
On to the next one. I'm currently in Dublin, in Ireland. Yeah.
New adventures and new things.
Let me just tell you, traveling and moving country during a pandemic is not easy. It's been such a struggle. I got back from Vietnam end of January this year. It's so weird. Like when we were in the airport, and then there was only, I think, 90 cases of corona in China at that point, and they had some cases in Vietnam, and we were like, oh, thank goodness we're going back home, you know, this virus here. And then going back to South Africa, I think it was maybe a month before we went into hard lockdown in South Africa. So yeah, and then obviously my plans got delayed. I had to stay back home a couple of months longer, but I got to spend it with my family, so that's not too bad.
And that is always a plus. That is always an advantage when you get to spend time with your family, especially since you were in Vietnam for a year.
Yeah, I just think it makes it so much worse to actually then travel again. Because initially I thought I'll be home maybe a week or two, you know, really enjoy it with the family. But the longer I stayed, the more I got back into my routine with my family.
The familiarity.
Yeah.
It kicked in. No, I get that completely. And obviously, the more time you spend with your family, as you said, the more you want to stay with them because that familiarity is there and that love and the hugs and everything. Yeah. But you were speaking about your life in Vietnam, hey, and how you walked around and you traveled and you did all these things. What was your lifestyle like in Vietnam compared to when you lived in Cape Town? So I'm talking about what was the cost of things? How easy was it to travel around? Did you feel safe? What was your experience like?
So I would say cost of living is super affordable in Vietnam, especially rent. We lived in a very big 2-bedroom apartment, and I mean, that was not that expensive. Food is very, very cheap there. Okay. So most of the people I work with our age, like we never cooked because it's so affordable to just eat out all the time. And they have the most delicious food there. Oh my word. And traveling is also very, very easy. You can travel within the country. I think the farthest point is maybe 2 hours flight, and everything is just so fast paced in Vietnam. Like one day we flew, I think, from 8 till 10 to one of the other towns in Vietnam. And I think we literally landed at 10. By 10:30, we were like at the hotel booking out a motorbike. And then we just went on again. So, you know, especially in Vietnam, they don't get a lot of leave. They're very hardworking. So when they do get leave, they make the best of it and they make the most of it. Like they also have a lot of sleeping buses. So maybe you are in one point and you sleep on the bus overnight, and by the time you wake up, you're in a new town again.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Sleeping bus. So it's actually a bus that takes you from point A to point B, but you can sleep overnight. And it's almost like an overnight train.
Yes,
but it's
basically. But it's a bus. So it's like a big bus, and then it's literally, how do I say? It's like these little small beds lining up, and then underneath is also a line of those beds. So these beds are not built, I would say, for the Western body. So I'm almost 1.8 meters, so I was definitely not sleeping comfortably in that
Oh
bed.
my goodness.
But it's very nice. You have like a toilet on board, there's Wi-Fi on board, so it's very comfortable.
Oh, nice. You were talking about the food. Now, I know Vietnamese food is really good because I love fun. I love banh mi's and butter short. Now, tell me, what was your favorite dish while living in Vietnam?
Oh, there's so many. My favorite dish was bún chả. So that's basically rice noodles with pork balls, and then sometimes if it's a fancy bún chả, it's got little pieces of bacon in it as well with mint leaves. And then it's in like this sweet and sour kind of, how would I say, soupish thingy. And you eat this with chopsticks. So it took quite a while to get used to that as well.
Oh, I think I've given up on chopsticks. Like, I've tried, but at the end of the day, I just end up eating it with like a spoon and a fork if I need to. Because I'm like, I can't do this thing.
That's the issue. Like at the beginning, I thought, well, maybe I'll just carry around a knife and fork everywhere and, just take it out and eat. But then it didn't work. So later, I taught myself using chopsticks by eating peanuts with chopsticks. And that actually worked for me.
Oh, I heard. So I was told that you should actually have a bowl of rice and try to pick each grain of rice out of the bowl and like put it back in. I'm like, I do not have the patience.
That's next level. But even the Vietnamese, they would finish their food and then they would just like drink the remaining of it. So I think also there's maybe some noodles still left in there and they're like, never mind, let's just down it.
Okay, so next I want to know is, what was traveling like? So how many places did you travel to? How many countries did you see? How many cities did you see? And how easy was it to travel to other Asian countries within that side of the world?
Okay, so let me start with in Vietnam. So we lived in Hanoi, which is up north. So from there, we traveled to the south, Ho Chi Minh City, and then there's also an island called Phu Quoc, which is really nice. We went to the center of the country, so that's Hoi An, Da Nang, and then we also went up north to Sapa. I think you would have heard of that. So that's where they have these beautiful rice plantations. Oh my word, it's truly beautiful. And then from there, we went firstly to Cambodia. We went to the Angkor Wat.
Nice.
That was so beautiful. Super easy. Flight's not that long, maybe like 3 hours or so.
Oh, pretty doable.
Cambodia is a bit more expensive, so they work with dollars there. And then obviously it's a very good time to go to the Angkor Wat if that's something that you've wanted to do, because I've heard that there's some of the buildings are starting to like really, how do I say, break down now. So they might start limiting the amount of tourists that can go visit the Angkor Wat. Then from there, so we did one trip with all these countries because we had, I think, 3 weeks leave at once. So we just did all of the out of Vietnam travels in one trip. So we went then to Cambodia. Then from Cambodia, we went to Singapore, which was really nice. It's one of the most expensive countries in Asia and maybe in the world even, I think. So we had a very, very tiny hotel room with no windows because that was all we could afford. Because everything in Vietnam is so cheap. We normally stayed in 5-star hotels, including breakfast. And then we went to Singapore and we could barely afford like a room with windows. Well, we couldn't. We didn't have any windows. I remember before we left, like I Googled and they're like, this is so expensive. So we literally took breakfast bars with so that we would at least have one meal a day in the morning, but it wasn't that bad. So we went there and we got a pass. It's like a bus pass. So you can use the trains and the buses and it's tourist one. So you can just use it unlimited amount of times within those days. And then when it came to eating, we went to Chinatown or Little India because it's actually super affordable to eat there. So it's only like, the mainstream places that's a bit more expensive. So we did everything we could there. We went on top of the boat hotel and we went to Gardens by the Bay. Everything was so beautiful. And then from Singapore, we went to Malaysia. So we stayed in Penang. Oh my word. It was so refreshing being there. The people were super nice. It was
Oh,
actually
nice.
affordable, and people could speak English, which is like,
Yay!
what? So Penang has this really cool thing where you go looking for art. So you rent a bicycle and it's street art. So it's like on random sides of buildings. You get these maps and you can literally tick off all the like art and stuff you see. So that was super cool.
That's awesome.
And then from there we took a boat to Langkawi, which is an island of Malaysia, which is kind of a lot like Thailand. I don't know if you've been there. Also beautiful, white, long beaches, very affordable, and this food was also very, very nice. So I think, yes, those were the countries we've traveled. And then we've been to Thailand before, so we didn't want to go to Thailand again.
Oh, it sounds like you've had an amazing time. I would love to go to Asia. I haven't been there yet, and Singapore is definitely on my list. I mean, even when I've heard about the airport itself, it just sounds so amazing.
They have
Like,
a waterfall in the middle of the airport. And it's actually all rainwater. I was just amazed.
Oh, wow. No, I'm really looking forward to that. It must have been an amazing experience for you. So now you're in Vietnam, you're there for a year, you're traveling. Surely you're missing certain things about home. What was the thing that you missed the most about South Africa?
I think I missed the culture. So like Vietnamese people are super nice and I love them, but we're just so different. And sometimes when you know you're a bit down and you're really tired, you just miss your family and the way your family and the people around you are. It was very frustrating at sometimes, like not being able to communicate with people, going to the shop and I need milk. And I can't just say I need milk because they don't understand English, which is why I had a job, which is great. But also, like, when I go to the shop, I need to Google a picture of milk and then show them, I want this. Where is this?
Oh, goodness.
Another thing is also they're very hardworking. Luckily, I wasn't working that hard at the time because I was only teaching about 20 hours a week. But they work 6 days a week, which is just crazy. And that also means that it's never quiet. There's always people on the road. Shops are always open. But yeah, other than that, I think those were the things that bothered me the most. But that's only like when I'm really off and missing home. But the rest of the time, I just loved everything.
Oh, I love it. Now, Jani, what advice would you give South Africans who are back home, who are considering moving to Vietnam, moving to China, moving to Europe, the United States, Australia, New Zealand? What advice would you give them, those that are considering moving but are not sure if they should or if they shouldn't?
I would say don't delay, just do it. The sooner the better. There's so much to explore. The world is very big and you need to start right now. I think one of my biggest things when I decided to move to Vietnam was my parents and my family, because they were actually very sad that I'm leaving. They're excited for me, but they're also sad. And I was just like, can I do this? Like, am I independent enough? I'm going to miss everyone so much. And like, can I do this to my family? And then the thing is, you know, you live your life for yourself. You need to make the best of it. So I would just say, just do it. If you're thinking about it, stop thinking and just start doing.
Yes, I agree. You already know I agree with Jani 100%. Just do it. Okay, Jani, it's time for our 30-second rapid questions about you, so our viewers can find out more about you. Are you ready?
Yes, let's do it.
Yes. Okay, so let me know when you can see the timer. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so favorite city in the world?
Hoi An.
Favorite foreign meal or dish?
Bún chả.
Furthest you've traveled?
Vietnam.
Favorite South African dish?
Boerewors roll.
Next travel destination?
Ooh, the Netherlands.
What's the first thing you'll do post-COVID?
Travel.
What are you most grateful for?
Being able to travel and see the world.
What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Yay! Jani, you actually got the most thus far. You were able to answer 8 questions. All my other guests so far only like the highest that they've got is 6 questions. So well done to Jani.
Does this mean I get a prize?
Okay, firstly, hold on. This is not that type of thing. Okay. Y'all, I'm unemployed, okay? But thank you so much, Jani. I think that you really shared so much insight in Vietnam and the life that you lived while you were there. And I really loved your advice on just telling people to go for it and to go and not really be worried about those fears that you have. Because as you said, you need to live your own life. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best for your journey here in Ireland. It's just begun. There's so many beautiful things to see here, so many beautiful countries to go visit. And I know that God is only going to bless you and make you see all those places that you really want to see.
Thank you much, Charnie, and good luck to you too.
Thank you. Ciao.
Bye.